Hi, my name is Nomalanga Mhlauli-Moses with SuccessfulBlackWoman.com. This is my good friend Shaquita Graham with LovingTheBlackMan.com. And today we're attacking a topic that comes up a lot. And it's basically a question that gets asked a lot by women, and they have asked me in the past, and it comes in different forms. So the question is, and I'll also ask it to Shaquita, is what if a woman is really invested in her relationship, invested in her marriage, but she's married to a loser? What should she do?
Well, if you ever find yourself categorizing the person that you're in a relationship with as a loser, then especially if you invested in a relationship and you've been with that person over time, you need to ask yourself, are you a loser? Because how did you get into a relationship with someone that you would unequivocally categorize as a loser if you're not a loser? Because, the thing is, a relationship is a business and it's a team effort. So if you're on a team with someone who's not performing, if you see yourself as being a winner on that team or your team being a winning team, then you say, I'm going to turn a losing situation into a win. If you have a business and it's floundering, then you look at how do I turn this situation around and make it a winning situation. So that's the first thing I would say. Now, there are some times when you do have to think about cutting your losses, but we'll get to that, Noma. What are your thoughts about it?
I had the exact first thought that you had. The thing that I always say is you always draw to yourself what you are. So before you turn to the person next to you and start calling them names, you have to wonder, what is it about you that drew that person that you're judging in that way to you? So it's more or less mirroring what you're saying. The second thing that I would say about it is I think it's very important to control your perspective, because the truth is, once you start seeing a person a certain way and calling them a certain thing, there's nothing that they can do to wiggle out of that. Everything that they see everything they do will be seen through that filter of loser or whatever it is you've assigned them. So that's the second thing is I really believe in controlling my perspective. And I've said it before. One of the things that I have committed to in terms of me and who I am as a person is I will not in any way use my thoughts. I will not use my mouth or my actions to destroy a Black man or a Black family or the Black community. And when you turn around and you see a Black man as a loser, you've signed up for something that is not for us.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I think I'm with you on that. The way that you think about things has a lot to do with the way that they are. And I love something that Dr. Boyce Watkins says a lot. He talks about the idea of being a queen maker or a king maker. And this can be in business or in relationships. We have the power to empower other people to be better and to do better based on the way we think and act towards them, the way that we encourage and inspire them. So if you're in a relationship, and I think, everybody comes to this point where you're looking at the person you're with and saying, can we win as a team? Are you playing your role? And you should be looking, are you playing your own role as well? And so I think that it has a lot to do with, number one, you can't really control other people, but when you excel, you can drive other people to excel. But if you have the wrong mind state, you can also drag other people down. And I think sometimes in the Black community, our thought lives, the way we think about one another, breeds this discouragement and this disdain that causes us to be in a scenario where it's difficult to succeed, whether it's Black women looking at their Black man or Black men looking at their Black women. And that's something that we have to overcome by never acquiescing to the idea that one of us is a loser.
Right. I do, it would be irresponsible of us to try and just pretend like nothing is ever so extremely wrong that you have to separate yourself from a situation. I will say this, though. My opinion is that if you are in a relationship and you have not entered a marriage covenant, If the person looks like they're not meeting the standard, cut your losses by all means, okay? I would, however, caution you that you can sometimes pick up that pattern, okay, of living this life of cutting your losses every time, and you get into this thing where you get in, you judge a person, you cut your losses, you get in, you judge a person, you cut your losses, okay? So I do caution that. But however, I mean, I don't endorse women dealing with things that they shouldn't have to deal with, like physical violence, being cheated on, all these other things. But those things are extremes, okay? Those are extremes. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about a person who's taken up a perspective that doesn't serve them, doesn't serve the team, doesn't serve the marriage. That's the first thing I want to say. The second thing is, I talked about relationship. When you talk about a marriage, and I know sometimes people feel like I'm extreme with this, when you get married, it's forever. Okay, not until you get mad, not until you think he's a loser, not until you suspect something, none of all those things. There's no scenario that you can come up with that will then excuse you from your commitment. Okay, it's a forever thing. And when you commit to spend your life with another person, they have room to grow. They have room to make errors. They have room to sometimes act like maybe they seem like a loser or whatever it is, but that doesn't absolve you from your commitment. And the more important thing to do, which is what Shaquita alluded to, is to focus on yourself. And the funny thing about when you focus about yourself and your own personal development is you can inspire, you can encourage, you can affect, you can even just be a good role model to a person if they're going through a phase or a time where maybe they're not doing their best. And if you focus on yourself, you'll soon find that when you look up, you might see something different.
Yeah, be careful with that. Be careful with just putting that, slapping that title of loser on somebody, because somebody who's a loser with you, then get somebody else and be a winner. So a lot of times it has to do with how you, and this is for men and women. I mean, people have talked about Jennifer Hudson and her weight and all of that, and she's with a guy who's very athletic, and now she has this beautiful shape and form, and she's talented. So, you know, that's an example. And I think what you were talking about as far as you know, relationship, how you get into the relationship means everything. And it's kind of like with getting into a cold pool. You got to dip your toe in. You know, you have to kind of wet, not just dive in. And that's the time when you find yourself in a scenario where you say, oh, dang, I'm booed up with a loser, because you dived into a scenario that you didn't know what it was about. Now, if you stepped into a marriage and you took your time to evaluate the character of this person, the family that this person comes from, and again, this is ideal situations, but if you did 3 out of the 5, you don't want to wake up one day in 6 months or 1 year when it's tough and just slap that loser title on that person. Or when things are not quite going right, you call them a loser. Or if you are in a relationship where maybe you're not married and you had a child with this person and you guys are trying to co-parent, and because you're not together, you want to just call that person a loser no matter how hard they're trying. We see that with the baby mamas, even with the baby daddies. Okay, because the person's not with you doesn't mean they're a loser if they're still trying to be a father or they're still trying to be a mother. So I think those are a lot of the different scenarios from one extreme to the other that we see when people want to give up on relationships and give up on people and not believe that they can, you know, do better or be everything they might dream of.
Absolutely. Great conversation here. And I just want to remind our viewers that these are some of the great conversations that we'll be having at our new platform, which we're working on. It's called Married Women's Business. And of course, there will be times where we discuss marriage and the topics that come up. And they do come up. If you've been married long enough, you know that a lot of things come up. But not to delve too much into our own lives, but to speak about the general things that people deal with and how we see it. And hopefully it'll be helpful, it'll be engaging, and it'll go towards encouraging people to really work on preserving what's important, which is family. And then on top of that, we also encourage women to be good mothers and to be good stewards of what they have, which is build financial independence. So again, that's Married Women's Business. Shaquita, did you have one last thing to say?
No, I just want to say thank you to all of the people who send us these really encouraging comments, all the people who signed up for marriedwomensbusiness.com. I really just appreciate you all connecting with us and appreciating the things that we have to say. And the comments are so encouraging. Thank you so much. And thank you guys for viewing.
All right, so guys, again, my name is Nomalanga Mhlauli-Moses with SuccessfulBlackWoman.com. This is my good friend Shaquita Graham with LovingTheBlackMan.com, which is so which is so relevant to this conversation. And thank you guys for watching. Take care.
Thank you.